Let me though drop into character style and paragraph style because these are two windows that are really, really interesting. Let's say that I have a subtitle right here. So here, let's just make this a subtitle, and we know we can hit Command Shift kind of triangle to do this. And so I'm going to copy this, and let's put another subtitle down here. So here we go. We have what an amazing document we have right here. Now let's say that we want to make this subtitle look a certain way. So let's make it blue, and that's an ugly blue. Let's make it dark blue so it's barely seeable. That looks like a link. Oh my God, why am I spending so much time on this? And then let's give it whatever here, this font. This font looks great. That will be the subtitle font right there. Now what we can do is we can create a new character style for this. So if you go down into the character style window and you click new character style icon, so let's do this right here, it will create a new character style. And what this is, I'm going to double click this, is it's saying that it's going to, and let's name it red thing. Maybe you'll want to give more descriptive names. Maybe you won't. Anything that you apply this character style to will get the font family of Bookman Old Style, Bold Italic, 14 font, red, all of that. Basically all of the settings that we had. And we're not using a lot of the settings right here. So I'm going to press OK. And now let's apply it. So I want to turn this to the same subtitle. And so I'm just going to hit red thing. And you'll notice that it didn't completely work. Now the reason for that is if you look at this, here, let me zoom in on that a little bit. If you look at this, it says red thing plus sign. Now the plus sign is saying that on top of the character style that's being applied to it, there's additional adjustments. So because we had already applied something to this, if we want to make it so it's exactly like this right here, we need to click this button. Now this button is clear overrides. See, what happened is I applied this style, but Photoshop is thinking, oh, it already had some settings. Let me try to use both of them. So I'll do as much as the style that you haven't already explicitly said something for, and then I'm going to override part of the style. So if you want to make it so it's exactly like this, generally what you need to do is you need to click on first the character style, and then click on clear overrides, and then, Command Enter to get rid of it. Now, what's really, did that make sense? Let me just say that one more time because I think that was a little unclear. You got to apply the character style right here. And when you apply the character style, right now there's two inputs going into this subtitle. One of them are the inputs of the red thing character style, and one of them are the adjustments that you already made. So it's the character style plus these overrides that you made yourself. And in order to make it so there's no overrides and it's just the character style, you click this clear overrides button. And now it's just the character style. I think that was a little bit clearer that time. Now, what's really amazing about this is oops, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to undo that. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to click this background layer, and I'm going to double click the red thing. And if I just change this to, something truly awful right here, then everything with this character style applied gets changed. Now you'll notice that I just did an undo, and we can look at our history palette to see exactly what the undo was. And it gets a little bit buggy with the undos. So there's a few things with character styles that when you start combining some of the shortcuts for the history palette and some of the other options, that can get a little bit buggy. And let me show you what I mean, because this can be a real point of frustration because character styles are not all that well done in Photoshop. And there's a reason for that. So let me first show you the bugs, and then let me show you why they're not all that well done in Photoshop. So, all right, here we go. Let's say that I have another block of text. So let me bring this up to 100% opacity. Let me pass this over to the left side of the screen. I'll put this right here. All right. And let's say that I want to make this top part of the lorem ipsum this same thing. So I'm going to apply this red thing character style, and I'm going to hit Command Enter. And let's look at all of the things that just went wrong right here. Okay? So I just want to look in my history palette to see one thing. Okay. I wanted to see if the adjusting the character style was in the history palette, and it's not. Okay, so here are the three things that went wrong right here. This red thing, so if we go into red thing now, it now has Braggadocio as the font. And yet these weren't changed right here. So this has been changed. And now if I hit OK on this, these are now changed. But before, it wasn't changed. So that was kind of a bug right there, which is kind of ridiculous. You can see there's kind of some frustration in dealing with this. Another thing, instead of it being this size, it was this size. Those were the two big things right there. So those are actually bugs in Photoshop. The way that this is handled is really janky, and it's one of the reasons that a lot of people don't deal with it. So let me actually show you exactly how buggy this is. So let's say that we have something like this. Here we go. And I'm going to resize this to 3 different sizes. So we'll have one at this size, and we'll have one at this size, and we will have one more that's at this size. So you see we have 3 things at 3 different sizes. Now inside of this, I want to create a character style. So let's make it so this character style is going to be, I don't know. Let's make it so this character style is going to be 36-point font, and it is going to be the color blue. And I don't know, it's going to be underlined. Let's not go overboard with this. There, that looks lovely right there. And I want to create a new character style that is going to do this thing of font size of, that's not 36 right there. It is blue, it is underlined, but the font size is all wrong. And the reason for that is this thing that we did before of resizing text with the Command T option. So if you change the text and you use the transform box in order to change it, and then let's just create a character style out of this thing right here. If you go into the character style, let's do this as 48 and say this is the new character style. And if you go into the character style right here, it actually doesn't have that as the right character style because if you've used the transform tool. Now, if this is getting a little bit confusing for you, it is that much more confusing in production because it doesn't work right. There's just way too many bugs in it. And if you're getting into the point where you're doing a lot with character styles, as opposed to just like changing 1 or 2 things, like I showed you with that original thing of subtitles, you don't want to use Photoshop. You want to use something like InDesign, where you can see that the character style options are actually far more in depth and they're far more fluid. They cover every single option. You can do things like cascading style sheets, or just like cascading options. I'm not going to get into InDesign right now. I just kind of wanted to say that this subtitle thing I showed at the beginning, that's pretty cool. If you're doing something like, I want all links to be blue and to be underlined the same way, then you can create a character style and you can call it link. And that's a pretty cool use of it right there. So here we go. Let me just apply link to this. Looks good to me. That's a pretty cool use of it right there. Anything more advanced than that is going to run into some problems in Photoshop. You're going to run into things where you have this oddness happening right here, even though you want to get subtitles that look like this. And you'll have this red thing where the font has changed to something that you don't want it to be because you're doing that in one example. So just be aware of it's good for very simple options, but the moment you get into anything more advanced, you're really starting to see the limit of Photoshop right there. So I'm going to delete this. Oh, and you'll see there was another error that happened. I'd only applied it to this top thing. It applied to this full text box. I will admit that some of this might be user error, but it very much is. There's a few flaws inside of Photoshop with this, with these options. So character style and paragraph styles, there's some bugginess to still work out. Paragraph styles are very similar. Basically, if you look at the character style options, oops, let me undo that. Whenever you're changing something in one of the character styles, make sure to select a layer that isn't a text layer. Otherwise, you're going to mess something up. So if I'm double clicking this, you can see basic character formats, advanced character formats, open type features. And then if you go to the paragraph thing, basic character, advanced character, open type features, and then it's a few more like indent and spacing, composition, justification, hyphenation. So characters you'll apply to individual bits of characters, paragraph you'll apply to an entire block of text. So that's the difference right there. And that is as much as you really need to know for character styling. If you're doing any more than that, don't do it in Photoshop. Let's move on to the anti-aliasing options. Hey, so this is part of a larger class, and if you're interested in really going much deeper into Photoshop, or if you just want to donate a bit of money my way to allow me to make more videos like this, please click on the link below and donate what you can. Also subscribe, and thanks for watching.